Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Saray from I Am Saray Bailey on Instagram. And in this video, I wanted to walk you through my initial agenda setup. Now, this is the blush color Erin Condren A5 ring agenda that I have been using on and off. And I've been testing out a few different ways of setting it up, and I really like the way that I currently have it set up. So I'm thinking for 2022, this might be the way to go. It has been the most customizable for me and the one that I have been able to keep up with multiple different areas of life. And that is the ideal planner system, is the one that actually works for you, that you check on with often. So that's the goal. I did order another agenda for 2022, which is the floral, I guess it is floral. That is the Flora agenda. So it's the one that has the Flora design on the outside, and it's a lighter color on the inside. So I cannot wait for it to get here, because this one has definitely taken a beating. Like, I already was a little not very careful, and I had ink get on my agenda there. So I try to rub it off with alcohol, and it kind of worked a little bit on here, but then I sort of just gave up with the other one. So the other one does have a light color, like an ivory white color. So I'm a little concerned about that, especially since I'm so clumsy, but we'll see. In addition to walking you through the agenda, I also wanted to share with you how I set up the additional inserts, because I have a specific way to do it to maximize the space. So let me go ahead and walk you through it. So once we open it up, over here is nothing fancy. These are just the Erin Condren sticky notes, the Flora sticky notes, which I have taken the whole plastic thing that they come in, and I've just cut them up just so that I can fit them here, so that I have them on the go. I have this ruler. This is a gold ruler that's also from Erin Condren, and I've had it for a little while, so it's a little beat up as well, but I use it all the time. This is just a quote from one of the orders that I did with cloth and paper, and I just kept it here. And then this one's just like an extra sticky note that fell out of my hexagon thing. So I just like a lot of sticky notes so that I can pre-plan. You'll see that here on the bottom, I have dividers. These dividers are from cloth and paper, and they're actually intended to be placed the other way around so that you see them from the top. However, I realized that it's actually easier to look at the dividers from the bottom, because typically if you wanted to see, for example, the wellness section, I'd have to pull it up to see where the wellness section is. So here from the bottom is actually super easy. So I can go right into my calendar, I can go right into the wellness, and I can go right into the budget section, and I can always put the divider in the specific page that I want to be on. So that's one of the first things that I did to set up this agenda. So these are my current 4 sections. So the calendar actually opens up to the day that we're on, or the area that I want to work on. Typically, I don't put it in the front because I have the side tabs right here, so I can flip to November if I wanted to. Here I have a wellness section, I have the budget section, and I also have a meal plan section. Just removing these sticky notes, a bunch of sticky notes with brain dump information, which that's how I operate with a lot of sticky notes. So they're always all over the place. As you can see, these inserts that I have in my agenda right now are from the Erin Condren neutral, just my type inserts. However, the ones that I will be switching to for January will be the Flora colorway. And one thing that I have done with these inserts, I'm not sure if you can notice the difference, but I did round the corners for the inserts because I added the Petite Planner inserts to this agenda. And these already come with the rounded corners, and I wanted them to match. So I took a little bit of time to just round the corners. It didn't take that long, and I only did a couple of, weeks at a time. In order to keep the bulk down of the agenda. I'm only going to be keeping just a few months at a time. So for example, I'll only keep the daily inserts for the current month that we're on, and then I'll keep all of the months, but just a monthly view so that it doesn't become too bulky, especially since I have all these other sections here. The other thing that I've done to make it a lot easier for me to navigate through the agenda is one of the concerns that I had with the rings is the constant opening and closing of the rings. I didn't want to mess up the mechanism by having to constantly be opening and closing it. So one of the things that I do with rings is I kind of use it like discs. So I actually cut a slit here by the hole of any of my sheets. So like all of these sheets are all cut so that I can kind of just use it kind of like discs. So I don't have to really open and close the mechanism at all. I rarely actually open them because every single page is cut like that around the whole section, and it works out perfectly. I haven't had any issues with my pages falling off, and since I only keep like 1 month at a time, you know, I don't have to worry about losing any of those pages. So that has worked out very well for me. So that's another tip that I would share if you're considering the ring agenda, or if you are looking for ways to preserve your ring agenda mechanism as much as possible. So as I mentioned, I do have the Petite Planner inserts here. I just feel like it was just a lot easier to use for me. When I'm planning out my day, I can quickly reference that section and update my wellness planner, or I can update my budget book as well. And then for my meal plan, I can also plan together. So these are really my most used planners or areas of my life that I need to check on a daily basis. One of the questions that I had when I share a little bit of the setup on my Instagram was like, Saray, how did you get the inserts here from the Petite Daily Planners? And I will go ahead and share with you what is my process. Now, the pages are not 100% the exact size, but they're very close. The agenda inserts are an A5 size, which is a little bit taller, I believe, and a little wider or less wide. I don't know. It's something about the width and the tallness of the sheets that is a little bit different, but it's so close. It's like maybe a quarter of an inch, if that is the difference. So it's not really a huge difference here. So let me go ahead and show you here. For example, this one is the wellness. And as you can see, you can still kind of see the perforation here from the sewing part of the Petite. So on my next time around, I'm going to try to kind of cut that off so it looks a little bit more uniform. But as you can see, because I preserved some of that area here, the holes are not so close to the edge, like it's not right on the line. So that looks really good. And I really like that is not really cutting into it. So this one here is the same thing. The only drawback to leaving some of this area is that it's a little bit curled. So for the next time around, I will go ahead and trim a little bit more, but that means that the holes will be a little bit closer to the line. If that doesn't bother you, then I definitely recommend this. But if it does bother you, it's something to keep in mind. For example, that will be more of an issue with the, at least with this meal planner, the Petite Meal Planner. This is the colorful one. I'm not 100% sure about the new color blends design. It's a little bit more neutral, but we'll see. But as you can see, it does go right into the line. It still doesn't really bother me that much. I mean, these are pretty disposable pages for me. It's not something that I really keep. I throw these out. I do keep my planners and my day-to-day stuff, but I don't keep these. So it doesn't really bother me at all. All right, so now I am ready to add my wellness inserts into my planner. So I've moved on to a new Petite Wellness planner. So this is what I'm using right now. But in reality, the folio, I do absolutely love the folio and I want to keep it as intact as possible. But it's a little bit hard for me to write, and if we have things that get in the way of us using something, we're never going to use it. So I think that's part of the reason why sometimes I kind of drop off from using it, because it's just not as accessible as I would like. So I'm trying to, while it's not the ideal situation, I really wish that Erin Condren would take these inserts or the guts of these planners and convert them into inserts. For now, this is what I can do to really make sure that it's working for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I remove the guts from the Petite planners so that I'm preserving as much as possible of the integrity of the pages and create my own inserts. So you want scissors or any sort of sharp tool that will allow you to cut the thread. So you'll see that these are not bound, or they're bound with a thread. So what I do is I take the scissors and I just gently go over the thread. And it comes out pretty clean, pretty easily. It's not a very thick thread at all. And here you get the idea. So I'm going to go ahead and keep doing this until I've gotten to all of the threads. All right, so I think I have them all. So I just make sure that I do have all of them. However, if I don't, for whatever reason, I'll know that I didn't. So once you open it up, you can see that the cover comes out really, really easily. And this actually has a pocket, so you can still cut this and use this as an internal pocket for your agenda if you like. Here's the example of the pocket from one of the Petite budget books that I use. So I just punched them. I even cut the slit here as well, so I could keep extra stickers or extra pieces of paper that I wanted to keep within my agenda. So I'm going to put the cover aside for now. And then here you can see that is the pages in the middle. So this is I want the middle. That's the section that I want. And I would start from the back. So as soon as you, because it's the one that's closer to the open holes or the ripped thread. So you can just open it like this. You can go page by page, or you can do a couple of pages at a time, but just be sure that you keep them in order. That way, when you are punching them, you don't lose your order. Yep. Getting a little tighter, there we go, because the threads are getting a little longer, but it should still come out pretty easily. Going to create a little bit of a mess, but nothing that a quick wipe can't do. All right, so we're going to clean all of that up, and then clean out the dust real quick. Right, and now we have our inserts are all separated. One of the other reasons why I'm doing this is because the way that I've had to do it in the folio, sometimes I have to remove the book and keep putting it back in. So like you can see that if the cords bend the pages, so they get a little bit beat up in the process. So that's another benefit. Okay, I'm gonna grab my paper cutter so that we can slice these and get them ready for punching. Okay, so I have my paper cutter and my inserts, and this is the order that they will go, so we want to keep them in order. So I'm going to start with the middle pages, and I usually just grab about 2 at a time. And this cutter I love because it's like a precision cutter. I can really see very easily where I'm going to cut. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here so that you can see. So it has like a little cord or a wire, and I have it, the wire is right there, and it is just slightly, just ever so slightly to the right of the holes. I want to make sure that I have it even because I don't want that, you know, the punches. And I didn't even go like as far as I should have with this one. So I'm just going to go ahead and move it over to the left of the page now so that I can take out as much as possible. Yeah, this one definitely came out a lot cleaner than this one, but I can go over this one again. Actually, I'm going to do it upside down. All right, perfect. So I have 2 really clean edges here. So I can essentially put these together like this because it is my middle section. Okay, so now for the next 2 or 3 pages, I'm going to do the same thing. I just grabbed 3 at a time now. And I'm going to go over a little bit more on the right because I don't want to have to go over it a second time if I can avoid it. All right, this one's pretty good. So these would be, this section on the right would go on the bottom of this pile. And then once I cut this one, just slightly to the left. This one will go on the top. I'll just go ahead and flip it over, and I'm still in perfect order. So I'm going to go ahead and keep doing that for all of the pages until I have my full book unbound and sliced. All right, so that really took me about 5 minutes just to go through all of the inserts and slice them, and I really like how they turned out. They're pretty uniform and pretty even. So now is time to punch them. So this is a specific A5 puncher. You can find this on Amazon or any arts and crafts stores like Michael's. And what I did is this one has a line right here. So that's where you want to line your page to. I didn't realize that the line was right there when I drew a little line with my Sharpie, but it already has it, which it's actually kind of hard. I'm glad that I still did it with the Sharpie because it's kind of hard to see it when it's sideways. So I like to line it up to the top there and then just punch it. And now is perfectly punched for an A5 planner. So I'm going to go ahead and do that with all of these sheets. Okay, and even with going a little bit closer to the inside when I cut the perforation, I'm still pretty excited that the holes don't cut over the line. So it still looks pretty uniform. So I'm very pleased with the way that this one turned out. Okay, so I've been doing a whole lot of talking, and I don't really think that the camera actually got any of that talking, but I essentially started slicing the holes in the planner here, or in the inserts. And this is pretty simple. Just with a pair of scissors, just slice the opening for the hole so that you can place it there. And that way I don't have to mess with the mechanism too much. And this paper in the new version of the Erin Condren Petite Planners is a lot thicker than the previous versions. So opening the holes or slicing the holes like this, I don't think is really a big deal because the paper, it's much thicker. So I don't think it will definitely be, you know, slicing open on you or, you know, creating any issues. Okay, so everything is punched and sliced. So now I'm gonna go into my agenda and go to my wellness section. And since all of these are pretty much all used up, I can just remove them. You can see it's very easy. Now, to make it easier, I will open up the mechanism just so that I can put them all at once. But typically, as I'm taking one page out at a time, that's not something that I need to do on a regular basis. So here are all of my wellness inserts. I don't keep this many inserts here, so some of these are actually going to come out, and I will place them in storage until I'm ready to add them back into the agenda. The wellness log is also not something that I like to keep over years. It's more like just to use on a regular basis and then just dispose of. So I'm not really concerned about the storage of the logs, or even really that concerned with the storage of the dailies. However, I do have an extra agenda cover, and then I'll have this one once my other agenda comes in, so I can use those to store any completed inserts if I want to keep them as a keepsake. But I do have a weekly life planner that's more of like my keepsake. I use that to plan the week at a high level, and that's the one that I'll keep at the end of the year. But this one, you know, it works out very well. You know, as I'm planning my day, I can reference my wellness log. I can update what I need to and really stay on track. I did order some additional inserts as well. They're the productivity pages from Erin Condren, or in the line pages too, which I will use for extra notes and also for my budgeting. So I usually keep a whole list of, which I don't have it with me, I don't know where I put it, but I don't want to lose it. So I noticed that the year at a glance of the bills that I had, I was constantly wanting to have it separately. So I'm gonna stick that sticker sheet in a separate page, and I can take it out as I'm working on my budget, etc. So I'll show you more on that once I have that set up. But this is it. This is the walkthrough. Once I get my new agenda, I will go ahead and transfer what needs to be transferred from here, which will most likely be the budget inserts and the wellness inserts. Maybe the meal planner, because of course I'll have my flora inserts for 2022 to use. I hope that you enjoyed the video and this walkthrough of the agenda. Let me know if you have any comments or questions. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time.